Hi, everyone. Welcome back to AMC Connects. This is AnneMarie, your president and CEO, and we've got a fast episode for you today. We do have to talk about influenza and the viruses that are just continuing to plague us and rage us in the community, so we've got to take a few minutes on that. Some updates regarding Rome Health, and as promised, we will have a guest that deep dives on a couple topics that have already been mentioned. And wow, again, 2026 is off to an amazing start, and we do have something a little bit new and fresh for you today, so stay with us. Hi, everyone. Welcome back, and thanks for staying with us. A couple episodes ago, we started talking about that Rome Health made the really important decision to mask. And actually, our guest is a champion of making sure that our patients and our community stays as safe as possible, and watches and influences and leads us actually in some of these major decisions. So we'll get to that in a few minutes, but it's still with us. The amount of viruses and flu and COVID that we're experiencing is somewhat unprecedented. That's what the new information is that's coming out. So a few kind of hot off the press items to pull for you for today is some information. A new flu strain they're talking about is spreading rapidly across the U.S., driving a surge in cases and hospitalizations. The strain, a variant of influenza A, H3N2, sometimes referred to as the superflu, is the most commonly reported flu virus this season. According to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention's latest influenza surveillance report, the CDC reported high or very high flu activity in 32 states, including New York, which is currently in the very high category. Thus, the reason we got to spend a little bit more time on it today. We are having a more severe flu season than prior years. Almost 1,000 more people were admitted to the hospital during the most recent 7-day period compared to the prior week, State Health Commissioner Dr. James McDonald reported last week in the news. Here's what to know about symptoms and how flu cases are affecting New York State. Well, how many flu cases are actually in New York State? During the week ending December 27th, lab-confirmed flu cases were reported statewide, according to the State Department of Health. That marked a 32% decrease from the previous week when about 72,100 cases were reported. So we're reporting a little bit lower, but still much higher than we've experienced in previous years. Hospitalizations rose 24% during the same week, and 4,546 New Yorkers hospitalized with the flu. So far this season, nearly 240,000 New Yorkers have had confirmed flu cases, and about 13,600 have been hospitalized. The state has reported 2 pediatric flu deaths this season, including 1 during the week of December 27th. Very alarming. Oneida County is continuing to see quite an infectious rate. We've been thankfully having our communications department, certainly Chuck, the man behind the camera always, and Cassie have sent out up-to-date information that pertains, as promised, directly to our institution. And so Cassie had alerted us quite a few weeks ago now that Rome Health colleagues, New York State is reporting again the highest influenza number related to hospitalizations actually ever recorded in a single week, underscoring the severity of the current flu season. The Commissioner of Health is concerned, of course, and so we were sending out some reminders of how to make sure that we stay informed, and masking will continue until we see some of the surge decrease. But as we've been informed and been experiencing, wow, in good ways and in difficult ways, 2026 is off to an incredible start. So making sure the basics are at the forefront of your mind. I'm actually sorry. For those of you who are experiencing the virus, family members, please take care of yourselves. As I shared in our first episode of the year, please make sure that you're taking care of yourselves. Our workforce, all of you, are our most precious asset, so vigilant hand hygiene, making sure that we're masking. When I was doing rounds in the hospital, again, people were doing a great job staying masked up. If we can encourage people who visit us to get masked when they're visiting or visiting loved ones or coming into the medical center, just incredibly important. So please make sure that we're taking care of ourselves and each other. That being said, again, related, but a little bit different, our acute care admissions, the need actually for acute care visits and care has far surpassed what the capacity was deemed at the beginning of the year. So my thanks to the acute care enterprise and really everybody, the ambulatory clinical groups as well, because people are creating capacity to make sure that we stay open and accessible. Over the last several weeks, always our front doors have stayed open, so thank you for that, while others have closed their doors, either emergency departments going on various times of diversion, which really does complicate those of us who are not going on diversion, but congratulations and thank you to the emergency department team members for continuing to take care of people. And my thanks to the medical center and primary care for working hard to create acute visits as we have sick patients that are progressing out of the hospital. So a lot going on, of course, and making sure staffing stays safe and we're moving forward. So we've had lots of communications out there about that, and in addition to all of the above, we've continued to launch state advisory reports. Brandon Pugh has
we're doing it all.
We just do it. That's what I said, like, wow, 2026.
Just a lot.
Just a lot, and off to an incredible start. So everybody stay connected. I was hearing some of the teams talk this morning about when we were expressing some gratitude, what they were most grateful about. And what some of the leaders at every level of the organization commented on is that we're all working together so well, better than we ever have. And that was a 2026 global goal for us after hearing and seeing the 2025 employee satisfaction and engagement survey results. As many of you talked about, we have a lot of strengths, but one area that we really want to focus on is how we work together or interdepartmentally, and to hear that we're doing such a great time in some of the most stressful moments at the start of the new year. I was really excited for everybody and all of us. So stay focused on that. Bring your concerns forward. Shifting gears a bit, if you were thinking that construction was over with all the monumental lifts we had in 2025, you would be wrong. So to give everybody an update, we are in our master facility plan phase 2. For people who may not know, we do still have construction going on within surgical services. So just a brief update on that. 1, construction is still going on. 2, that construction is the other half of surgical services, which is our post-anesthesia care unit, or our PACU. And so some teams are working very, very diligently on completing that building project. We're on time and on budget for that. We look to be able to open the PACU probably the first week in March, but we'll keep you posted on that. Very grateful for clinical services. Teams have come together to really map and remap how the care pathway and the workflow will go for patients so that we can remain efficient and effective for our surgical services and patient care. My thanks to those clinical teams, the patients of our surgeons and Department of Anesthesia. A lot of great work still to come. We'll keep you posted right on here in AMC Connects. Well, without further ado, I'm excited to be able to announce our guest, and we're going to go a little deeper on some topics. But again, without further ado, Dr. Michael Attilio is with us.
Hi, boss.
You know what's funny, Chuck? I was just saying today, and I thought of you, Dr. Attilio, but I didn't reference you because I didn't ask you for permission. But people were talking about nicknames that staff were quoting them throughout the building, and I said, I do have somebody and a couple of people who call me ma'am boss, boss lady, hi boss, and Dr. Attilio is a friend.
It is appropriate.
He promises it is.
And maybe from here on out, we have to get you like a little mug for your desk just to decorate it. I mean, you need some decor there anyway.
It's actually I sent you something on that actually, so we got to get that approved and in.
So Boss Mug is going to be one of the first accoutrements.
There we go.
I love that. Well, just a little bit more of an introduction on you, Dr. Attilio. We're so grateful. Dr. Attilio is a leader here at Rome Health in many different capacities, which I think we'll get to, but a leader in the community and really the region, board certified in primary care. Family medicine. And recently was featured as one of Oneida County's top physicians in delivering care. And probably one of the greatest greatest accolades a physician, I'm not a doctor, but could ever receive is really from patients and directly from the community, rating you as such a high performer in meeting some of the most complex needs of patients within Rome, certainly, but Oneida County overall. You have a reach for sure. And you and I first met because I was desperately needing a physician leader to help make this bold plan at Rome Health happen. And I've kind of quoted you over a couple of podcasts without people referencing. Maybe we'll get to that. But
I got to get caught up on it.
I want to know if you remember what episodes exactly, because you always do.
I know, I always do.
She's going to be like episode blah, 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 minute 3.
100%.
I know. I think I said it last week's podcast, and I was like, okay, people, emotionally attached to my own content.
You're better than I was.
Yeah.
It's been about 8 years since I've done a podcast. We had one in my past life, and I couldn't tell you anything that we talked about.
Well, I mean, that's like one of 1,000 things, maybe not quite 1,000, but definitely 100, where Dr. Attilio, you've influenced me on different aspects.
And vice versa, in many ways,
Thank you for that. Well, maybe start with how and why did you choose medicine and family medicine?
Well, that's a good question. I actually remember, God, this was a while ago now, Oneida Herkimer Madison BOCES does a School and Business Alliance program. And every December they would do a breakfast and high school students would attend. And one year I was fortunate enough to be invited to be the sort of guest speaker, right? And the whole focus of the presentation at that point was that, a lot of times when we're growing up, we sort of have this plan in our head where our entire career is going to travel in this nice straight line. I go to college and I get a job and here's where I wind up. And I pointed out to everybody that line is almost never straight. Like mine sort of looked like this, right? Because to get to your question, everybody assumed when I was growing up that I was going to be a doctor because it was family and healthcare, and I was good in school. But I went to college and I wasn't pre-med, right? I was biology focused, and I had no idea what I wanted to do. And as a matter of fact, I was talking to my daughter last night because she's in college trying to figure out what she wants to do. And I said, I decided to apply to medical school in my senior year of college, right? And it just sort of worked out. And from there, sort of it's been just a lot of coincidence and circumstance and sheer luck that I've wound up where I am. But on the family medicine front, once I did get into medical school, for those that don't know, when you're in medical school, you start in your 3rd year doing your clinical rotations. So your first 2 years, you're in classrooms, and they throw you out to actually learn what it's like to take care of people. So my very first clinical rotation was in psychiatry. And as much as I never imagined I would be a psychiatrist, which is kind of ironic given how much I deal with that stuff right now. But anyway, I never thought I'd be a psychiatrist, but I was like, this is kind of fun, right? And then I did OBGYN as my second rotation. And I was like, this is great, I want to be an OBGYN. And then I did surgery, and I was like, this is great, I want to be a surgeon.
Because you're so talented.
And then we did orthopedics, and I was like, I'm going to be an orthopedic surgeon. And I remember talking to my brother on the phone, and my brother's a nurse, and I vividly remember him just going to me, you're not an orthopedic surgeon, right? And it really resonated, and I started to think, I'm like, yeah, he's right. But from there, I went into family medicine and my other sort of core primary care rotations, and I was like, you know what? This is what I need to do because I kind of like doing everything, and it's really worked out.
Yeah. And I could see, I don't know that I knew that part of the detail of how you came to family medicine, but you enjoying so many different specialties along your education path, it probably makes sense, to your point, why family medicine, because you're brilliant and well-rounded.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
Kind of bringing it there. Yeah. You do have a service background, too.
I do.
First, thank you for your service to our country.
Thank you. Yeah.
We have a great country. We live in a great country. I always say the opportunities I've had, I don't know if I'd have them in other parts of the world. And so my thanks for your service.
Well, thank you. It was probably the best thing I've done. Nothing against Rome Health. We're excellent, right?
Thank you.
But when you look back and you think about everything you've done as an individual in your career, that's one of the most transformative couple of years of my life by far. And to get to your point, 13 months in Afghanistan changes a lot for you.
Yeah.
Right. But I'm very glad that I did it. Met a lot of great people, learned a lot of great things. I was actually talking with one of our staff members yesterday whose daughter is now in an ROTC program pursuing a nursing track, which I love. Credit to everybody who's doing that.
Sure.
And we got to talk a little bit about what her future might look like. There are days that I miss wearing the uniform. There are days where I don't miss it because I couldn't have a beard if I went back in. But yeah, thank you for pointing that out. It's a big part of me. Yeah.
Yes. And I would say, when we were recruiting you to Rome Health, I should disclose to our workforce that, as soon as I was in your presence, I absolutely knew that there was some providential connection.
Yeah, yeah.
And when
I can say the same.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
When I reflect back on that, we were embarking on, I was pretty scared.
Yeah.
I'll be really honest about this. I was pretty scared. The board had set the right strategy, of course, and primary care and growth in the community-based forum was of utmost importance for our future, our immediate future and our long-term future. So
Yeah.
a lot at stake. And when I entered into your presence, I was instantly calmed and instantly like, okay, this is the leader we desperately need to help me understand how to be able to take this step. And I wonder if it was some of that transformational experience in your career that led us to
Probably.
that connection.
Yeah, yeah. I appreciate you characterizing it that way. My experience, Chuck, with that meeting was slightly different because what I really took away from it was, I too, within like 5 minutes of us meeting and exploring this opportunity for me, I knew this was the right thing. But more so because, and I've told a bunch of people this, I had never before met a leader, period, much less a healthcare leader, where when you and I sat down, it was very comfortable, right? It was like talking to somebody that I'd known forever, and having that feeling that you had an opportunity to work for somebody who just really genuinely cared about you, right? Not what you could do for them, was amazing. But then as the conversation progressed, and this was the really crazy part, I will admit I found you a little intimidating because I would go from,
That's
love
right.
this woman, she feels like my sister or my mother or family member, right? To her switch would flip. Right?
Yeah.
And she'd get into like the operation stuff. And I'd be like, oh my God, like she's so smart. And you would go back and forth so fluidly that I'd never seen anybody do that before.
Oh, thank you.
And, that human part of you, that emotional intelligence, that connection that you're able to build with people, and connecting that to the true healthcare expertise and how seamlessly you go back and forth and you blend the two together. I'd never seen it. So I was like, yeah, sold, done.
Well, likewise, for sure. And I remember we were both kind of struck by the work that needed to be done to accomplish some goals. So in your time frame as taking care of our patients and primary care, simultaneously you were leading us to, I think just over, people keep me honest on this, but over a 22% growth in our access and volume over, nearly 4 years of leading us in primary care. And so one, thank you for that. Two, thoughts that you have on the specialty of primary care in this community, and maybe some pointers that you have for people. And because I know you can handle multiple questions, I would say anchoring back to influenza, you and I have a fair amount of conversations on how to keep the community safe, and vaccines. There's a lot. I remember when I was in my nurse practitioner courses, and the debate on vaccines was happening back then. There was a big debate going on in some of my courses. You and I and have had those conversations, and thankfully, like I said at the beginning, you lead us. But can you share with us a little bit about your approach and
absolutely.
your care?
I think vaccines is probably the best place to start, and then we can backtrack to some of the other things. But I wholeheartedly agree with you. Nowadays, it feels like talking vaccines goes in that same adage of, don't talk religion or politics if you don't want to upset somebody.
Yeah.
Right? It's almost the same. I will say, to be very clear to everybody, I'm a huge vaccine proponent. I remind my patients oftentimes that, especially with military service, I've been vaccinated against things that most people haven't even heard of, right? So that's not just a personal opinion. There's a lot of literature out there, a lot of very well done healthcare research that says vaccines do work and they provide significant benefits to us as individuals and as a population, right? Now that said, I also remind my patients that, when you come in to see me, your body, your health is yours, right? My job is to guide you through what I believe is going to help you live the longest, best life that you can, right? But it's your decision at the end, right? Rarely I do have conversations with patients where the decisions they make and what I'm saying really are very far apart and problematic, but in most cases, my job is to inform you and help you take care of yourself, right? So as much as I encourage my patients to get vaccinated against all the various diseases we have vaccines for, some of them don't, right? And in that case, I think the really important take-home point is something you alluded to earlier, which is do something, right? Hand hygiene is not a joke, right? It really does work. And if you choose not to be vaccinated, you really do have to be very diligent with those things, and even masking. And as much as you can argue that, masking may be better for other people than for me, right? More so preventing other people from getting my sickness than me getting sick, there's still a lot of validity to that, right? When I see patients in the office, I don't want you coming in with the flu and giving it to me, because if I'm out for a couple of days, that means there's people who aren't getting taken care of, right? And I know that a lot of us have vulnerable family members or other loved ones where, if for no other reason, it's good to wear a mask so you don't get them sick, right? And during this flu season, we are, as you pointed out, seeing a lot of very sick people. We've seen the numbers spike much more rapidly than any of us suspected. So I think our healthcare system's response has been excellent. We've seen very few bumps in the road trying to make sure we adapt and respond. But another key take-home point is it's not over, right? As much as it's late in the season, it's still appropriate to get your flu vaccine. I would encourage people to keep in mind that it takes about 2 weeks for the flu vaccine to really sort of work to its fullest extent. So if you go today to your doctor, it's another 2 weeks before it's really going to do what it needs to do for you. And our respiratory season probably won't end this year until at least February or March. So we have to continue to be vigilant with hand hygiene, masking, and other measures. And connecting that to your other questions, as we look at this community, I will point out that we do have a vulnerable community, right? Here, compared to other places in New York and nationwide, we have a higher incidence of tobacco use and smoking, and smokers' lungs are a little bit more sensitive to diseases like influenza, so we, somewhat more than others, have to be more vigilant. We also have relatively high rates of chronic disease, other things like heart disease and diabetes that put people at greater risk. And that's the thing I really love about primary care, going back to your other question. In primary care, we know a good bit about pretty much everything, right? And that's why I enjoy it so much. I've always been like the jack of all trades, master of none. I'm good at a lot of things, but I'm not really great at one.
I would differ from that opinion, but we'll get to that.
Appreciate that.
We're going to get to that in a minute.
And I will tell you, as an anecdote, when we go back to medical school and me deciding what I wanted to do, I remember talking to one of my attending physicians, and he was trying to get me to go into a certain specialty. And I said, well, I'm going to do family medicine. And this guy was smart. Like you think I'm smart. This guy was like, he made me look like I'm in second grade, right? The kind of guy where he'd sit a bunch of medical students in the room and he'd be like, draw the chemical structure of lysine.
Wow.
And everybody would try. And he'd just walk up to the board, jot, done, right? So anyway, he asked me what I want to do. And he said, I tell him I want to do family medicine. And he goes, Mike, of everything in medicine, that's probably the thing that I would be most scared to do.
Wow.
Because you have to know so much.
Yes.
And I was mortified. I'm like, this is the smartest guy I know, and this is what I want to do with my life. But I've really held on to that. And I enjoy what I do because it gives me an opportunity to impact so many different lives in so many different ways, right? It also helps us bring things together. Like I had a conversation yesterday with one of my patients where he sees a cardiologist, right? And he sees me and various other specialists. But his cardiologist was encouraging him to increase the dose of a particular diabetes medicine because it would be good for his heart, right? And the cardiologist was right. But there was a bigger picture in treating my patient as a whole person, right? Where I had to point out to him, I said, listen, he's right, but if you do that, it's going to make these changes in your diabetes regimen and the control of your diabetes and these other sort of traits that you have that are actually going to put you at higher risk, right? Other bad things might happen while we're trying to protect your heart. So that's really what I love as, I go to work every day. And I think it translates very well into what you and I and others are doing to try and lead the healthcare system. Because if we're going to fix the problems we're trying to tackle at Rome Health, and if we're going to make the community healthier, we have to look at it as a whole, right? And I appreciate the experience I've had both in, my physician practice and in the military, and how that lends itself to really figuring out, sure, we got a lot of projects to work on, the construction, our IT strategy that we'll talk about, and there will be little pieces, but we all have to get them to come together in a way that makes everybody's life better. So,
wow.
Yeah, I guess that's all of it in a nutshell.
That is a perfect segue into Dr. Attilio's expanded role. So after he met major milestones for us as leading us through our primary care expansion and access in ambulatory enterprise, I would say that this systems ability in putting many different pieces and parts together, part of one of my goals when I came to Rome and serving as a CEO is I really wanted, like Dr. Attilio has just alluded to and shared a little bit, reshape the healthcare system. I've talked a little bit of this on the podcast, right, Chuck?
Yep, absolutely.
And really part of the way to do that is to lead with physicians, our doctors. If we haven't hugged or thanked or high-fived our doctor, particularly
after you wash your hands.
After you wash your
Wash your hands,
we have
then
a
high
mask
five.
on. Just tremendous work for the community. Dr. Attilio expanded advanced position and promotion to Chief Medical Information Officer because we had always known in our strategy that we needed to really round out our system and make sure we had a strong infrastructure. So last year he accepted that to lead us through some systems work and get us prepared. So we had announced on a podcast that we were successful in getting Transformation Grant 4 award of just shy of $19 million. And Dr. Attilio has been fast and furious putting components of this strategy together.
Me and others, I don't want to take all credit for it.
Well, others are crediting you with framing a very important aspect, which is formulating our request for proposals out to our vendors so that we can keep moving.
45 pages of fun.
Wow. Yes. So, Dr. Attilio, can we just summarize a bit kind of where we're at in the process and what you can tell us about next? Because we're going to have you back with a deeper dive on this.
This is probably going to be, a common source of conversation. I actually, twice, today alone, had two people come to me and say, are we going to get Epic? And I'll explain more of that later. But anyway, I will also take this opportunity to give AnneMarie even more credit because I respect her so much and say that this transition of mine that you allude to, when I accepted this position, Chuck, accepted's probably generous because as AnneMarie pointed out, we were doing a lot of work in, building our physician practices and focusing on primary care. And when this came up, I didn't have the same foresight that she did. And I was sitting there going, what do you mean? I got all this other stuff I want to do, right? And my acceptance of this was admittedly a bit reluctant at first. But in hindsight, this is why she's the boss, because she was right? And had we not made this change, I don't think we'd be in the position we are.
I desperately need you.
So to catch everybody up, if we're going to take care of everyone that we want to, it can't be just about the building. It's not about construction, right? It can't even be just about the doctors because everybody knows that there's a physician shortage. That's where our allied health professionals come in and closing a big part of the gap. But, even with them, we still can't cover everything we need to. And what I have learned, both in my experience as a physician and now in this new role, is technology is going to help us close a lot of that gap.
Nice,
right?
yes, well said.
There's a lot of conversation about AI, right? And some of it's fearful conversation, like AI is going to take my job, right? I'd encourage everybody to think of it more from the perspective that AI is going to help me do my job better so I can do more of what I need to do, right? I'm not going to stop being a physician, right? But I'm going to be able to take care of 3 times as many people because of what this technology can do for us, right? And it's got to be a comprehensive strategy, just like that big picture we were talking about earlier. It's not just the medical record in which we document everything, right? It's going to be the tools that we use to, take care of you. It's going to be the other pieces like our radiology systems and so on and so forth. So, to your point, to get us started on this strategy, our cornerstone here is our electronic medical record. So we created this request for proposal document, which summarizes basically what our ideal would be if a vendor could come in and say, hey, here it is, right? Sent it out to 9, I believe, vendors. And now through the rest of January, we expect to receive responses to that request. And really what those responses are going to be is those vendors outlining, hey, here's how we think we can meet your needs, right? So I believe it might be next week where we set the deadline for vendors to respond. And then Nancy Levitt, our CIO, and I will go through and be the first ones to sort of sift through it. And our goal is to choose amongst all the responses we receive sort of our top 2, 3, whatever it may be, vendors where we feel they would be the best fit for Rome Health. And from there, our next steps will be to show those programs that the vendors offer to people within the healthcare system, because this isn't a Dr. Attilio decision, right? It's not a Nancy Levitt decision. It's not even a CEO ANneMarie decision,
Well
right?
said. Well
It's
said.
a decision that involves so many people
Yes.
who work within our system and even our patients that we have to take this feedback and show this products to a very wide audience of individuals. Most of the work we're doing right now is twofold. Number one, making decisions about who really needs to be involved in that initial selection process, right? And number two, setting up the demonstrations so that we're going to get a really good feel for what's going to work best for us. Right?
Yes.
What you find a lot of times, even take something like simply buying a computer at the store, right? Depending on what store you go to, right, they're going to give you a different pitch and they're going to tell you what they want to tell you.
That's a great
right?
comparison, yeah.
What we want is for these companies to come and show us their product the way we want to see it, so that when we compare it to others, we know exactly what the difference are and we can confidently walk out of that room saying, you know what, this is what's going to be the best thing for Rome Health's overall strategy.
Dr. Attilio, I think you just summarized a key component as to why I needed you so much. Dr.
Yeah.
Attilio just summarized that because of him, his leadership, and certainly the other people that Dr. Attilio will be working with to lead us through this major initiative, I would say the single largest investment that Rome Health will ever experience, non-bricks and mortar, that we will not be taken advantage of, that we will appreciate our culture, our vision, where we're trying to get to, like almost like the Wayne Gretzky, right? Dr. Attilio is helping us to create where we're going and creating systems in place to where we're going, not where we are. So thank you. You touched on like 5 questions already, so thank you for that.
Yeah, and back to my epic comment, by the way, because I know people listening are going to be curious, right? So, as we selected those 9 companies to say, hey, can you help us out, right? Really, Nancy and I did a lot of legwork to say, let's find everybody who we think can meet our core needs, right? Because we didn't want to narrow it down, right? We need to consider pretty much any good option we can get to make sure we get what we want. Rightfully so, Epic is a very big player in the marketplace. A lot of patients are familiar with it because it's used at a number of other regional healthcare institutions. But I've been telling everyone who asks me, we'll choose Epic if Epic is right for us, right? We have a lot of needs, right? Not just the ones about writing patient notes. There's a lot that we as an organization need to do in order to deliver the best care possible, right? And if, as we walk through, Epic can show us that they can do that, then that's what we'll do. But if we have another vendor who can prove to us that, they can meet our needs better, then that's going to be what we do, right? We're not going to choose a record because it's popular. We're going to choose a record because it makes people healthier, makes Rome Health successful, and makes this community stronger.
Yes. Well, this is like a great moment to pivot into our rapid fire. This is good.
Okay,
this is good. This is a good one. People
whatever
love
this is, and I will tell people, but again, I have not been up to speed with the podcast, so I don't know what's coming.
Okay.
That's good.
It's
That's good.
I'm just going
It'll
to
be your
preface it,
favorite
though.
soon. It's going to be your favorite.
I'm just going to preface it.
Yeah.
I'm not going to beat Dr. Flint, whatever it is.
What?
Yes.
We'll
No,
see.
I have,
Spectacular.
I have
but
on
here-
very, very reliable report
the competitive
that
nature.
Dr. Flint just like trumped everybody.
Oh, okay. So you haven't watched it yet, but it's a sneak peek. People have said to you, okay, this is good for Chuck and I.
And
Okay,
for everybody else, if you haven't watched Dr. Flint, watch Dr. Flint.
Yeah. There's a plug.
So jumping right in,
Yes.
what is your favorite go-to gas station snack?
Gas? Oh, see now.
Right off the bat.
I love this.
See, so I will admit that.
His face.
So everybody is familiar with honey buns, you know,
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
particularly the iced ones, right?
Yes.
But
Gotta
here's
be
the thing.
iced.
As much as it's my favorite, I can't do them anymore
I
because they are not the healthiest thing,
Right.
right? So now what I do is they're my daughter's favorite. I buy them for my daughter.
Excellent.
there you
Yep,
go.
yep.
So that's a good question.
So,
Oh, I
but
love
do
that one.
do
Okay,
you do
Dr.
the little
Flint
reach
says-
around and she gives you just like reaching
Nope.
behind
No,
the
no,
seat
no,
when they're
no.
driving? No, okay.
No, he's taking
I
his own
bring them
advice.
home. I set them aside for her. I'm like, it's not mine.
It's all yours.
Dr.
Yep.
Flint says we're not old. We're just getting older.
That's right.
So
Well,
you are embracing the
but I will
older
also say-
status.
Old as a frame of mind,
Yeah.
right?
Yes. I'm gonna be young
For
forever.
those that are familiar with baseball, there was an athlete named Satchel Paige, right? One of the very famous Satchel Paige quotes is, "How old would you be if you didn't know how old you were?" Right?
I like
And
that.
my answer is I'm like perpetually 30. Not in body, right? I can't do what I did when I was
This might
30.
end
but
up being a
mentally,
question.
Yep.
I'm like 30 forever.
That's excellent. That's a great mindset. You don't look far from 30. And you're right around 30, 31.
You know,
Okay.
last time I was podcasting, AnneMarie,
Uh-huh.
I had a lot more hair and my beard was way darker. So
Very
I don't know.
distinguished you are. Okay, have you ever won a contest?
won a contest. I don't believe I have. My wife and I, along with two of our friends, we weren't married at the time, but we were in a CrossFit competition once. We got second, right, as a team, the four of us.
Oh my
That was-
gosh.
yeah. That was in my heyday of my physical fitness era. I'm still fit, just
Yes.
not that
Yeah.
kind of fit.
Yes.
But yeah, second.
Wow.
I get a lot of seconds, I'll be honest with you.
Okay,
I graduated
alright.
second in my high school class.
Maybe second's the new first. Wow,
Yes.
you did? Congratulations.
And you know that whole second place thing has resonated through my life since then. The only thing
Well.
that I get number one for is I'm the oldest of my four brothers, or three brothers, I should say. There's four of us.
Yes.
So
I like
yeah,
knowing
I
that.
won the brother contest.
There you go.
Okay.
That's a
all
good one.
right,
I like that. That's a
one.
good
Yes,
one.
I like that too. But maybe, again, second is the new first,
Yeah.
according to Dr. Attilio. Okay, favorite toy as an adult?
I am still building Lego constantly.
Oh, no.
So
okay.
right now,
Oh, it's the latest.
Love this.
Right now,
Yes, what's the latest?
for all the Goonies fans, I have
Oh, you
the
got the-
Goonies. The Goonies set is awesome. It's got all sorts of cool things in it. So that is in my living room right now, about 3/4 of the way built. My daughter, my older daughter, who also loves Lego, is very excited because I bought the stupidly expensive but totally worth it Star Wars Death Star.
Oh my
The
gosh.
brand new one.
Yes.
So yes.
Wow. Do you have it built yet?
No, it's
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 gonna
waiting
take
for
you.
us.
Okay.
But I have a lot of sets. My wife likes to remind me that I have a lot.
Of course.
Yes, but she got hers because side story, we have two dogs, but I'm very allergic to cats, right? And she wants a cat. So I also was gifted last Christmas the Lego cat that is now I just built. It's in our living room under the Christmas tree, hanging out with the dogs. Yeah.
Love this podcast because I'm learning so much about
Lego,
you.
man.
We've spent a lot of time
Lego,
together
yeah.
over these years. Okay, this is great. Now, did you give us a precursor to the next question, which is what is your favorite
I want to guess. Go ahead, ask it.
Okay, what is Dr. Attilio's favorite movie?
I want to say, I'm just guessing this one. Hold on. I want to say Jurassic Park.
That's a good one. And you know, we can't pan the cameras, and I won't
Nope,
lift it, but
we
I'm
can.
wearing Jurassic Park socks.
And
right
that
now.
is exactly why I said it, because I saw it. Hold
say
on,
he's
we're going to
gonna
get a
catch
video.
it.
We're going to get a video
Hold
over
on.
here.
Yeah,
There we
so
go.
There's my Jurassic Park socks.
And there they are.
So Chuck's guess is great, but it's not accurate.
Ah,
I will say Goonies is definitely up there. It's got to be in the top few. But if I was going to pick one, it would probably be Rogue One, and I'll take a lot of flack from Star Wars
Okay,
fans for a lot
okay.
of reasons there. But there are a lot of us that believe that that's by far the best Star Wars movie out there.
Interesting. I'm going to have to
And
watch it again.
I grew up a Star Wars kid. I'm still
Okay.
a Star Wars kid.
I'm with you.
And you know, it's just that being one of the more recent ones that I've been able to share with my family and my daughters in particular. I love that one.
That's awesome. Okay, I'm liking this last one.
Okay.
It's big. It catches people off guard, so I'm going to warn you how to
Yeah,
build this
yeah.
up.
I was
build
hold
this
waiting
up.
on. Let me get the camera ready.
Yes. What is your hidden talent?
See, that's. I figured it was going to be this.
Well, because
from the
this is
rumors
really
that I've
hard for you
heard.
because you have so many talents.
But see, that's
Do you
the
have
thing.
a hidden one?
I'm going to go back to I'm a jack of all trades, master of none. No, I don't have any hidden talents.
Okay.
Everything about me is very much as it comes. Right? There's nothing I'm really, really good at. Right? There's nothing I sort of do on the side that's really exceptionally.
Except for Major
I
Systems
can.
work.
I love to ski.
Oh, yes.
But we are not skiing on a podcast.
Yes,
Unless you. We probably could bring
probably
like
could.
cameras
You'll
and audio
watch
in.
me. You'll watch me fall a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, when I have to get the shot,
That
but we'll
could
do
be
it.
fun. We could have orthopedics involved. We can watch Chuck fall a lot. It would be
Right at the
fun.
bottom of
You
the
are
hill.
Ski Patrol.
Yes.
Like, you are very cool.
I've done some cool things.
Yes.
Yes. And I'm grateful for that. Genuinely grateful that I've had a lot of good fortune in my life. And I am glad to have the opportunity to give back as much of myself as I can in a lot of different ways, through, like you said, military service, through my current service to Rome Health and to our community. I will say as a sidebar, I do genuinely and wholeheartedly believe that healthcare is a service, right? As much as we all have to make the ends meet as a business, right? We are here because everybody deserves to be healthy and happy, and we got to make that happen.
Yes.
Right. So yeah, I'm very fortunate,
said.
but you don't get any cool like tricks or anything. I don't have any detachable digits or
Well,
that sort of thing.
thank you for your service, and thank you for being such a good sport on AMC Connects. You get the most sought after gift.
That's
Oh,
right.
the
The
sticker,
coveted,
yes.
the
Coveted,
coveted
I
sticker.
should say
Thank you.
it that way, coveted
Yeah.
sticker.
I love the stickers.
If you all haven't seen Dr. Attilio lately, just send him a high five, good wishes. He's got
Wash your hands.
wash your hands, wear your masks, do what you
Yep.
need to do, consider getting vaccinated. But what a tremendous asset to this region, this community. And we have him right here leading us at Rome Health. So thank you, Dr. Attilio. You're amazing. We appreciate you
Thank
in
you.
every way.
Yeah.
Every way. One last thought as we summarize this particular episode. As promised, I quote this a lot if you haven't seen a previous episode. Here at Rome Health, the employees really have one single request. We've got lots of lists of work to do together, but one single request is that I would communicate first and foremost internally into the workforce before communicating things publicly. And we just recently found out that we had applied for another grant, a Rural Health Stabilization Grant, that is a federal path to be able to review our current construct as a valuable community-based healthcare system and network. And so a little while ago, I had accepted that invitation to participate in that award, and we are one of only 8 organizations in the country that we know of right now that has been awarded this particular path to evaluate the organization and the work that's being done and how to be able to go forward in the future. I do have to underscore, like I have a couple times on the podcast, that this would not have been possible without Cassie Winter, our unbelievable our communications officer and grant writer, and she had been taking a leave. She needed to take a leave for her own self, and there I was, somehow still knocking on a virtual door, and she, of course, responded. So there'll be a lot more to come on that particular topic, too, and we'll be having Dr. Attilio back to be able to walk us through the very important elements that he outlined for us for our IT and IS strategy. So yes, thank you everyone for tuning in, and thank you for creating the best care out there here